Welcome to Home on the Range, the official podcast of 1881 Ranch, bringing you the latest on the products, topics, and techniques for the shooting, hunting, and adventure lifestyles. Here is your host, tactical deployment of small arms expert and 1881 Ranch Director, Will Egbert Jr.
Hello, everyone. Will again with Home on the Range. Today's episode is episode number 5. I'm joined in the studio by a good friend, Fabrizio, who will be discussing the AK platform, right?
Yeah.
Don't jump off the mic there, bro.
No, just saying, I want to. I'm kind of shy. Yeah, we're gonna have a little bit of fun talking about the junk gun. Everybody call it, the Tommy gun. I don't buy that gun as a Tommy gun. That's an average '80s quote, I think.
Yeah, definitely. So, I guess we'll just go in a quick little intro. What this episode is going to cover is the Tommy gun. The hunk of junk, the stamped piece of trash you find buried in the jungle someplace that magically you can pick up, put a round back in the chamber, and it goes pop, 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 pop. So we're going to talk about what your favorite builds, some difference in the main models that you're going to find in the gun shop, some of the best mods, misconceptions, some of the premium builds. And we're also going to go just really quick. We're going to go into what you do and your background and stuff like that, and why you enjoy that platform. So, tell me a little bit about where do you work now?
I work for a gun manufacturer. We do OEM stuff mostly, and AR-15s in general, barrels, ball carriers, or everything around the AR-15 platform, more than less 80%. Sadly, I don't like AR-15 that much, but I respect the platform. I'm more an AK guy. That's what my boss says. It must be a torture for you working in an AR manufacturer, which it is. I have an AK tattoo, but it's an interesting. I learn a lot during seeing the process that goes through the production and everything. It's interesting. I think you learn more. And then during this learning process, you also understand more how everything works and how much work is behind it, what is good, what is bad, as far quality-wise. When you do your next purchase, you have a different point of view, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, comparing an AK to a AR-15 is like what, apples and guavas or something. I mean, what's that weird?
I don't know.
Skunk fruit that they eat in the Philippines or something.
I don't know. I think it's more comparing grappa to a fine bourbon whiskey. You know what I mean? Either of the two works for get drunk, but it's in different ways.
Exactly.
I prefer grappa.
One scratches its ass, its way down your throat, and the other one just kind of moves on through. So tell me about that accent. What is that? Is that just funniness? Are you being funny, or is that?
Do I have an accent? Really? I don't know. I've been told when I speak Spanish, they sound like Brazilian or something like that, or an Argentinian. Argentina Southern. Yeah. I'm originally from Italy. I moved over here in 2011. My wife, of course, is American. She's a tattoo artist. She works in a really cool tattoo store. We met through MySpace, and we were talking back and forth for a while. And then one of the coldest winter actually in Illinois, I decided to come over here in 2009, and we met briefly, spent some time back and forth, and then I thought that I found the women of my life, and also I like this country, excuse me, way better than Italy. There's more opportunity, and I think that
you like our pizza better.
Pizza better? No, not really. And the weather sucks.
The weather
sucks nuts. And
it does. The weather in Chicagoland is.
I think, sadly enough, some Americans don't appreciate that. And I think this is really the land of opportunity.
Yeah, it is.
I'm a living proof, I think, because I started working 15 hours on Depot when nobody else would take the job, and then I got full time after 9 months. Yeah. So which is big for retail, I think nowadays. And then I found a job in a gun company, which is boom. Yeah, kind of cool.
I think most guys that look to go get a job in a gun manufacturer, they're a little more serious than just working in a gun shop, right? So they've got that focus. But that is almost like that's the holy grail, right? To actually work in a manufacturing facility and not whether even if it's a custom shop or whatever like mine, but it's more of the holy grail. So I mean, you stumbled into something that most guys would like.
Yes.
Lop their leg off for.
There is a misconception about it too. People think, "Oh, you're cool. You build guns every day." I'm like, nah.
Yeah. No one understands.
Not really.
In any business, whether you're building cars, you're building guns, you're doing website design, whatever it is, it gets extremely, let's say, real fast. Like it's a pain in the butt. Everything about it's a pain in the butt, and you can't get to the range. People say, "Oh, wow, you build your own guns. You can get to the range anytime." The only time I could get to the range was when I was test firing a custom, custom pistol or something, or when we were doing all the AR platform testings and making sure that the timing on the barrels were all right, the gas blocks reported correctly, and that's it. And all you're doing is just shooting downrange. You're not shooting, and when you do get the pattern, but you can't just have fun. You have to literally pattern the firearm. It's not fun. It's work. It becomes work.
Yeah, and all process behind it. In reality, I'll do a little bit of everything over there. which is good.
Well, you have to.
You understand, like I said before, you really understand what's behind the process, and you never know. One day you can be running your own company. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, you could go out selling baby bottles too the next day.
I don't know.
It doesn't much.
Building a case one day, maybe. I don't know. It would be nice.
Well, you and I talked about that a while back.
Yeah.
I found that machinery sitting in Romania, and I just didn't know how to get it back home. And that would probably taken $200,000 in bribes just to.
I know a guy. I know a guy.
I know a guy. Well, I found a guy, and boy, oh boy, let me tell you, I did not feel safe in that time.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that one was not going to go very far. All right, so where about in Italy were you from?
Venice.
Okay.
Actually, mainland, because Venice is an island. Of course, there's only a bridge that connects Venice to the mainland. I live like literally 10 minutes from Venice, more like an industrial area. Like think about Elk Grove over here in Chicago.
Okay.
And work in tourism for when I was 8 years old. I started working every summer.
Okay.
For buy a bicycle, stereo. So I've been in the touristic business for a while. And my family has 2 camping places, one in Venice, one in Spain. So I learned languages, which is a good thing if you hook up with girls. You need that.
Yeah.
It's a good skill.
It's a very good skill.
And then one day I got hired by a factory plant close by my house when my father was working a chemical plant.
Okay.
I was working some kind of Homer Simpson style job, if you will.
Yeah.
And I worked over there for 10 years. Then the factory closed down. That's when I had my chance to go see Katie, my wife, and that's it. And
never looked back.
Yeah, I never looked back. Been in the army 1 year in Italy. You draft pretty much.
Yeah.
You have the choice. You can be a civil service. You help people with handicap or crazy people. Or you serve in the army. You have the choice to pick up your unit if you want to.
Okay. Did you?
Kind of tool. Yeah, I asked for tank, anti-tank, because I like tanks. And I was too tall for tanks, according to what they told me. And anti-tank for them.
Especially as Italian tanks, those are built kind of small.
Yeah, well, we had M60s and Leopard ones, so at the time.
Have you ever heard me make fun of my wife?
No, I do, yeah, bad. It's probably punch you in the low abdominal area probably too sometimes. But.
I call her the Mediterranean Ridge Runner.
Yeah, I bet. Well, it's a long story too. I'm from the north. You are different than the southern.
Yeah, I keep hearing it. I wish I'd have known more than just all the BS.
We can go one time. I'll take you over there. We can have a couple of drinks without driving, which is good.
I was in an airplane going from Rome to Palermo, and the guy sitting next to me is an engineer for Rome, doing the city work, so roads and bridges and things like that. And he's like, he's looking at me because I don't fit in, right? Why would I be going to Sicily? And he goes, well, what are you doing? I said, oh, I'm visiting my wife's family, and it's a big wedding and things like that. And he goes, oh, okay. And he just kind of gave me that look like, why would you be going there? Any other reason? And I'm like, oh, my family. And he, my wife's family. He goes, oh, okay, all right. Now I understand.
Yeah.
I said, why? Why would you say that? And he goes, oh, it's typically you really find too many people coming from Rome going to Sicily unless they've got a purpose.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and I'm like, really? And he goes, oh, no, it's totally different. And he explained to me that there's an actual dividing line, if you will, that cuts right through Rome. You've got North Rome and South Rome.
Yep.
And as soon as you cross that one block, that's it, you're Southern.
In Italy, we say from Florence, and after Florence is no Italy anymore, but, it's a long history. But, I think about Italy I don't want to digress too much, and think about Italy till 1861 was a really divided country. We have different states that belonging to princes and dukes. They were affiliated with French, Germany, Spain.
Yeah.
So the entire country.
Well, northern Italy is basically the Alps. I mean,
we were with Austria for a good portion of our history, which has good things and bad things. I think they were better than French, for sure. French stole a bunch of stuff. Napoleon was notorious to liberté, fraternité, égalité, but at the same time was robbing. If you go to Palazzo Ducale in Venice, there's a bunch of stuff missing.
Well, what, you haven't seen any of the stuff missing in Chicago?
I don't know.
I mean, that happened through two daily regimes and a Rahm Emanuel with a side of Obama. I mean, come on, that's
Napoleon was a Democrat. That's what you're trying to tell me. Probably. But anyway, I don't want to. But I was in the army for 1 year, and my unit was on the defense line of the border with Yugoslavia.
Okay.
There's a bunch of bunkers, whatever you want to spell it, and we have machine guns, old Navy guns, like from
big surface to air.
Yeah, the one you move like rails and everything. The ammo, tanks, like a bunch of tanks, like Sherman Fairfly English, and then we have some old Italian ones. Some M26 American Pershings. Okay. So that was my unit pretty much.
Oh, good.
So.
And then you guys basically got drunk at lunch every day with your MREs, didn't you?
Pretty much, yeah. We got Cordiale, which is what we trade normally with Americans.
Now, what do you call it?
Cordiale.
Okay. It's like a Galliano, right? It's like that yellow.
Yeah. So you drink before the bottle, and then you charge.
It comes in the MRE.
Yeah, regular.
Yeah, most people don't realize that. In the French MREs, they've got wine in them and stuff. Oh yeah, they got fucking white wine and fish and pâté, and it's like I've seen some of these things. I'm like, oh, that actually looks kind of like. Why would you give that to your soldiers? They're not going to fight. And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. We're talking about the French.
You need some help.
Everything through Europe has changed so many times that over the years that doesn't matter if you were a shit kicker back in the day, I think the French and the Italians and the Germans have all kind of gone the way of we're safe, we're just going to sit down over here. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong, there's still the special units.
Oh, yeah, in Italy they got some. I say there's a misconception about Italian army, and people's like, oh, they always retreat, and actually during World War II, there's more actually thing they did. They were actually act of valor than people actually know.
Yeah, that's there's quite a bit of that. We'd have to refer to I think Kyle Lamb would have to come on the show and school us on world history. I think he's quite the student of that.
Oh yeah, it's think about just mentioning one thing super quick is if you think about El Alamein in Africa during 1942, I believe it was, with the Rommel Italian were over there, and the Italian paratrooper have no anti-tank weapons or anything. They just put an old socks with explosive and gelatin and stick it to the British tank. Yeah, that means you got to run over the tank.
Yeah, you got to get to it. So and sometimes the closer you got to the tank, the safer you were. Yeah. But it was just that middle ground. You still had to close. And God forbid somebody popped out of the hood of that thing or the top of that thing with their machine gun and that's it.
So they got pretty much wipe out, you know what I mean? So, anyway. So, yeah, it was a good experience. I learned about, we did a lot of patrolling with the police and Carabinieri. Training like roadblocks and stuff. So we've been trained with mainly was in the M1 grant, believe it or not. But then after this, when we were deployed between slashes.
So that's what happened to all the M1 grants.
Yeah, we got like, oh man.
we shipped them over to you guys.
Yeah, I think we chopped, like at the end, when my unit was dismissed, we chopped like 16,000 of them.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. They could have been sold here for a grant probably.
Yeah, they could have been brought right back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just refurbished and put back into the civilian marksman program or sold even as stamped Italian guns.
Oh, even better deal. Probably. Yeah, right. They were 308 too, so it's even easier to shoot. Yeah. They were really chamber, so they were actually an easier seller than not.
Yeah. Nobody likes shooting a 30-06.
No, it's not a classic American, but
not with a brass butt plate.
No,
that hurts.
Anyway, all right, so sorry about that.
No worries. It's so what I met you through Chris some years back, and it's always been one of those friendships that it was like we were friends. What, 12 minutes after we met?
Yeah. I think it was 30 seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
I like this guy. I got knives and guns. Yay!
So, but yeah, Chris introduced us, and that was fun. That's where we kind of get going. But with you being up north, it's kind of difficult to do it. Yeah. So we see each other 4, 5, 6 times a year, and then we'll see each other at Ciot Show every year.
Yep,
we do a lot of hang out. I liked hanging out with the Italians.
Oh, they're cool.
Yeah, they're a bunch of nice guys. A bunch of nice guys. We had the funniest part was just sitting there in the restaurant and everybody looking at the food, and they were like, "Holy cow, that's huge! You guys eat that?" I'm like, "Well, we don't get to be this big by sitting around, nibbling."
That's why we win the wars. That's what my wife says all the time. But.
Yeah. All right. So
anyway,
all right. So we got pretty much everything. Let's talk about your AK. Why do you like the AK? What drew you to that platform?
I think the thing there's 2 major factors, if you will.
Yeah.
I grew up in the 80s, and we were all of us looking at Red Dawn, Rambo, Invasion USA.
Yeah, lots of movies with AKs, right?
And a major factor was also of course, the training in the army, because we had the chance to play with them, because we're supposed to use them if something happened. We had only 2 clips for the M1 Garand, and the thumb was shoot a Russian and grab his gun, pretty much.
Oh.
Yeah, and start fighting behind the enemy lines, pretty much, because we didn't have a chance to survive. Our unit were like, 1 hour lifetime, all the tanks. And so anyway, so we learn about them, we train with them, we respect them. And that's why I like AKs, because they work, and also because when I was a kid, I used to always like guns and everything, and always been fascinated by rudimental are the Eastern Bloc weapon, as like tanks or stuff like that, but yet they work,
Right.
They always counted on quantity versus quality, like tanks. They used to have 10 tanks versus 1 of our tanks,
Yeah, they're disposable.
Like the American did that with the Sherman versus the Tiger Pan. If you think about it, it was a reverse way, kind of.
Yeah.
So I kind of respect the platform. And there was a magazine in Italy called Commando. It was actually an English magazine. And they had every week they were talking about, if the Russian do this, if the Russian do that. So you learn a lot. And I was a weird kid. I always looked like to drawing, little on paper soldiers, And mine had the tanks really accurate. My mom was like, "What the?" You know what I mean? And I most of the time play with Green Army Men, even if I like other toys, which I collect, by the way. And I always like Green Army Men, put in in line, put the mortars behind, the machine gun on the side. And my grandpa used to watch me, and I had 2,000 on the table, nice. And I was like, no, that's an American. It can be with that one. That's it. and my grandpa was a vet, a World War II vet, Italian vet, Navy vet. He was actually decorated too. And he loved that stuff. He always bought me history books. Mm-hmm. And he wanted me to learn about history, which is cool, instead of forgetting. So anyway, that's what it comes from.
Because most of Europe has basically sterilized itself from World War II.
Oh yeah, there's misconception, or again, the history is written, but the winners, But anyway, that's where it comes from. I respect the platform, and when I moved over here, the first gun, when I had my Foy car, of course, first gun I bought was actually in Wazar, I think, 1063, I do believe. So.
All right, so those of you that don't know, here in Illinois, you actually have to go get a special gun card. Mm-hmm. And it's called a FOID card, Firearms Owner's Identification, and it's a communist thing. It really is.
Absurd.
Yeah, it's really absurd, right? I mean, you need another license on top of your driver's license to go through a background check. And all of our background checks here in Illinois actually go through state police. Mm-hmm. They don't go through the feds. And it's weird. They'll go through the feds in the backside or something or whatever, but Illinois always wants their fingers in the pie first. Mm-hmm. So that's weird. So your reference to that FOID card might have been missed by some people or not understood, so that's why I wanted to say that.
But it's money. Just a matter of money, I think, if you ask me. Because when you fill up your form for acquire the gun, you pretty much doing a background check, right?
Yeah. And it's a federal form.
Yep.
And it's going through a background check. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's going into the system. So, but whatever. All right, so it was Rambo movies, Chuck Norris, of course, right? I mean, Chuck Norris always rocked. Oh yeah, I've got the Chuck Norris tattoo. I love that. I think it was one of the first things that really kind of defined our friendship. And I looked at him like, "You've got a Chuck Norris tattoo?"
Lego Chuck Norris.
Lego Chuck Norris. And that's when you're like, "Oh, it's a Lego Chuck Norris." I'm like, "Well, that's even twice as badass, right?"
Yep.
I mean, I did the same thing. I mean, I've always liked the AK. I've always respected it because of what it is. And most people think that it's been put together in a garage shop or something like that. And I can't say the basement because that's where the Uzi was built. Was like, 40 feet underground or something in the middle of Israel.
Bombing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they put it that far underground so no one would hear the stamping machines and stuff like that. It was under a dry cleaners.
I don't know, but anyway.
It was underneath that. But no, it's not an easy gun to put together.
No.
I mean, to build.
No.
It takes quite a bit of energy.
Yeah.
I always kind of liked it because it's on the Mozambique flag. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that's
right? I mean, like third world country, Africa, corruption. What do you call that? With the I don't want to call it like a parliament rule or royal rule, because it's not. It's just the general comes in and he's not even a general. He just got some money and he's
God pretty much.
Yeah, right. He comes in. He goes, look at the fruit salad on my jacket. I'm in powder blue. I stand out. I'm a big war general. And you fought in the jungle and sticks and knives and stuff. But and then all of a sudden he comes out. I thought that was always kind of fun because the world keeps evolving and certain areas of the country of the world keep regressing. And it's just kind of when you understand a little bit about history and a little bit about the world. You have a different outlook. So, I mean, that's when I looked at the AK. And I never had one for a long time. I always had AR-15s, even growing up. And it was like, then I got my hands on my first, I think it was a Yugoslavian or Czech. I think it was a Czech.
You sold it too?
Unfortunately,
man.
I didn't know what I had, dude.
Yeah, that's something.
When I look back on it now, the bluing on that steel was gorgeous. Considering what it was and where it came from, right?
If it's a Czech gun, probably even better. They're really good at building guns.
Yeah, it wasn't a Yugo. That was my second version. But I picked it up, and the first thing that really even with all the wood furniture on it, it was like, wow, this is really light, and it's like it points. The stock's a little shorter. The grip's at a right angle. I just don't like the magazine. I think hooking that front lip is just is bonkers to me. But it's like an FAL, right? You got to get it in and you rock it back. And most of the H&Ks were like that too. So you had to kind of get a little rock to the back and lock it into place. But yeah, same thing. It just, I didn't follow down the rabbit hole. I kind of just kept everything. AK, AR-15, and my AKs would be the first thing I would sell and rebuy. And then everything else I just kept for some reason. But now that I'm getting a little older, I'm looking for nicer guns to
Absolutely.
keep.
Yeah. That's everybody starts. When I start, a Wazer was fine. And then, of course, I end up spending another grand changing parts and everything, which we're going to talk in a little bit probably. But now that I have high quality, which, again, we're going to talk in a little bit probably too, I hand one, and you notice a difference and you're wondering what I'm doing with the cheap one,
Yeah.
But it's also understandable. That's what we were talking with Jim Fuller in one of my videos on my YouTube channel. We're talking about, and Jim mentioned that.
We should probably stop right there for a second because you've got your YouTube channel as well, Eltenda.
Correct, yeah.
Right, EL.
Eltenda's like Echo, Lima, Tango, Echo, Nevada. Wait a minute, I'm getting lost.
Yeah, I think you went back.
Eltenda.
ELTENDA.
You better than me.
Yeah.
Spelling. I'm horrible on spelling. I do apologize. But.
All right, so go ahead. So
Eltenda's channel. Maybe we can put a link somewhere.
It'll be in the notes.
You can look up. It's and there is a video. I do several different videos. Most of the stuff is now I hand, but I rather to put content than quality, if you will.
Yeah.
And there is one of them actually they're really proud of it. Among all the one I did with Mark Krebs, which is a good buddy of mine, the owner of Krebs Custom. There is one with Jim Fuller. We were talking about gun ownership in general.
Yeah.
And he mentioned the fact that if the Wazer AK, the Romanian AK, is all you can afford, it's better than nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You gotta train with it, learn how it works, and figure out how to use it. And like I tell everybody, buy a shotgun. If you can afford a $2,000 rifle, buy a $200 shotgun. Better than nothing.
Better than nothing. And you can get 100 yards if you got a Sabo in it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, it's not gonna. You're gonna have to take your time with it, but it's better than nothing. And most of the time, when you're going, door to door or something like that, if there was a collapse, your shotguns always be better.
Yeah,
right? Even bird shot, you'll still knock somebody apart.
Yeah, and if the poop hit the fan, you can always shoot the bad guys and grab his gun. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's the main rule I tell everybody. It's.
So what's your favorite build right now?
Like
it doesn't matter what it is. Like
I hand. Yeah, let's say I hand. Well, let's go in two different ways.
No, just let's start with just your favorite, like the one that you always pick up.
If I had a chance, I would buy one Krebs custom rifle and one Rifle Dynamics rifle every year if I could. Although there is a bunch of new company on the market, they're really good.
Well, let's talk. What do you have right now that's like your go-to? Like if I said, all right, we're going to the range, grab your AK, the one that you're going to grab, what is it?
Can I say 2? Do you mind?
Well,
it's an choice.
It's an AK. I mean,
you
gotta have.
They got different
As Arnold says, well, you got 2 arms, you got to have 2 guns.
See, no, it's depend on what I do and what I'm working on. I would say probably a 5.45 because it's my preferred round.
Yeah.
AK, and would be or the KV 13 Mod 2 from Krebs Custom or the Rifle Dynamic 501. They are both in 5.45. They're both custom guns. I like both of them in different ways.
So the 5.45 you're going to have to actually get from that's overseas ammo. Is anyone else making 5.45 here?
Ornady.
They do?
Yes.
Oh,
like
it's
super
brass?
No, steel case, steel.
Whoa.
And it's expensive too, which is ridiculous if you think about it. Ornady, steel case. But I heard people buying $600 rifle. I'm like, I'm shooting Ornady. I'm like, whatever.
I find that a little, but yeah, anyway, it's what you can get your hands on.
Yeah, I normally use the majority of them is like Jensi, sorry, if you're listening this, I need more ammo. And I like Silver Bear, Brown Bear. They make Golden Bear, I believe, too, which is super nice.
Yeah.
And they make, they start making even subsonic ammo too, recently.
Yeah, the subsonic?
7.62 by 39.
Subs.
They start making it because there's some request. I think KVAR is the exclusive for that now. So they we don't care, we want all of it. Because they understand there is a market for that.
Well, we're going to have to get a bunch of that for the ranch because...
Yep.
Shooting subsonic ammo is just fun.
I know somebody. I know somebody.
Okay, good.
But anyway,
we need a truckload of that shit.
Yeah. And it's Silver Bear because it's the high-end stuff, and I have zero issues, zero malfunctioning. And that, sure enough, they cost a little bit more, but, still.
So you'd go with the 501 from Rifle Dynamics.
Correct, yeah.
Or you'd run...
The KV 13 Mod 2 from Krebs Custom.
And why does he call it well, we'll get to that in a minute.
I know, that's name...
KV, like...
I don't know.
What is the KV?
Krebs, maybe something?
But Krebs variant? I scratch my head at that, but... Yeah, I think you could have just named it something else and been done with it. All right, so what is the main difference in the AK? We've got 2 different calibers.
Yep.
Right? So we got an AK-47, which is the...
7.62 by 39.
It's by 39, right? So that's your 30 cal short.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got the AK-74.
Which is 5.45 by 39.
Right. So that's that odd 223 caliber again, 22 caliber again, or close to, I should say.
But then they start making also different ones. They also make 5.56s, like Arsenal, which is, I think, is the Arsenal 100, I think it is. I mean, it has
chambered for 5.56.
Yeah, different magazine and everything, and it become really popular because 5.56 is more available. The magazine a little bit more hard to find. You only have Circle 10 Bulgarian magazine. Although I heard somebody start making them. And speaking of 5.56, Rifle Dynamics is making their own version called the NATO rifle.
Really?
With adjustable gas block and everything. That gun is like the poop, if you will. And I was thinking about getting one. The only problem it's preventing me to do that is actually the magazine because they're like $30-$40 a piece.
Yeah, it's going to be a proprietary magazine.
But I heard that somebody started making them.
Oh, good.
Different ones.
Well, that's the neat thing about manufacturing today is when we leave SHOT Show, everyone's like, well, we need to start a magazine brand. And then next thing you know, boom, there they are. They're making magazines for it.
Because it makes sense. It's an interesting, let's put it this way. To me, I'm talking about myself. A, is probably easier to suppress because there's more choice of round and silencers and stuff. B, you can shoot it everywhere. Because, most of the ranges are like steel case ammo, like blasphemy, if you're going to range, which is, I think, is a long story of BS, if you ask me.
I don't get it because separating steel case ammo from brass is like pretty simple. You put it in a pile and you run a big electromagnet over it and boom.
Yeah, somebody else told me it's because of the sparks when it hit the bagger. And I was like, because there's gunpowder on the floor. Well, clean your range. No.
If
it is,
Sparks down, that means that there's steel core. It's not steel case. Like, what's the big deal about steel case?
I don't know.
It's because typically the indoor ranges are, taking that brass and they're selling it to reloaders. And when they have to sit there and sift through it, they don't like it. So,
but I go a local one. I found a local one which is a little pricey, but I like the staff. It's clean. They don't have any. What
is that, Second Amendment up there?
No, actually, it's called North Shore Sport Club. It's in Lake Forest.
Yeah, yes,
beautiful range.
I've talked with those guys.
Really nice people. They don't have an attitude with my wife, which is a good thing.
Good.
Some people, most of the range do.
Well, I'm glad you had a good experience with them, or have a good experience with them.
You did not?
No, I did not. They tried to punk me for all my Sims equipment, and they wouldn't stock my guns until I gave them my Sims equipment, and that's what they were going for.
Sucks.
Yeah, and I wasn't. No, that's not going to happen. I mean, I ran a huge simunitions training facility for many years, so I mean, my equipment is like, there's a ton of it, right? And at the time, they couldn't get anything because simunitions wouldn't sell it to them. They said they had a range program and blah blah blah, and I was like, I don't feel comfortable selling you that stuff. And then when I sell it to you, where am I? You're not going to stock my guns, even though my pistols and my ARs are like, it's a high end product, and that's what their customer is. It's a high end clientele in there.
Yeah,
but they didn't. No,
sorry about that. I mean,
other
than that,
but it's a beautiful range.
Oh yeah,
it's a gorgeous showroom. And when I was there, they had a Ferrari in there.
I think they got a Porsche now.
I think I got a Porsche now. So it's a fun place to go. It really is.
And again, I can shoot steel case, which is an old thing about the barrel life of your gun is gonna be short. And I'm like, whatever. Change a barrel in air, 15 minutes maybe. You know what I mean? I don't see a big deal.
I don't see it. What are you going to shoot? 20,000 rounds sort of thing?
No, you only change the extractor. You got to be sure you have a decent extractor in your bolt, first of all. So a billet extractor is probably better. Or buy a BCM one, or you can buy one from us. We sell them on our website. We have also small parts from Carrier. Change your extractors, clean your gun.
Right.
Everything. For work we had to work some of police guns, and those guys don't clean their guns.
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't want to go in another argument.
No, that's I ran police training for many years, and I went from everywhere from street officers all the way up to special units and SWAT teams and things like that. And they're just regular people. They don't take care of their stuff. They don't understand that every once in a while you got to make sure that your chamber is not fouling. Otherwise, you're not going to have you're going to have a failure to feed. Number one, we're not going to go into battery, and you're going to have to, smack it in there. Or two, you're going to break your extractor because the casing's getting held up because of all the fouling. So, and all of a sudden, now you're completely out of the fight. So now you got to go back to your pistol. But most guys wouldn't even do that. They'd sit there and they'll try to figure it out right in the middle of an engagement.
I clean my guns every time I go to the range because to me it's a way to check if everything is okay with the gun. Part wise, malfunction wise. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm too picky with my guns, but
No, that's fine. But I gotta tell you, I rarely clean my guns. Like I'll throw some liquid freakiness down the barrel.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
And just run a Q-tip around it just to make sure that it's lubed a little bit, or I'll throw some of the liquid Chimera down there and just see if it comes out clean. But I think if you're shooting halfway decent ammo, you're all right.
Yeah, it's more like I think it's an army habit.
Yeah,
because we used to clean our guns. We were when we were deployed, we were in Sardinia, which is very sandy. So we used to cover our gun when we were going to bed for 2 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
And we used to clean everything properly because it's a good habit.
Yeah.
Your life on a gun,
Yeah, when you're relying your life on the gun. All of my equipment when I was on a SWAT team, it was perfect. No one touched it. It did not get fired. It didn't take into the range or anything like that. It's an AK, it's an AR platform, right? So, I'll go shoot my other ARs, but that one I know has not been hit. It has been bumped. The sights are on. It's clean. It's ready to go. And but when we did go to the range, that's it. All my equipment got taken right back down. The batteries got switched out, so I had range batteries, and then I put fresh batteries in all my sights and my lasers and lights and things like that. So, yeah, when your life depends on it, you definitely do have to take care of it. But all my other stuff, I gotta be honest with you. I shoot it till it malfunctions, and I take it apart. I clean it real quick, and I throw it back together, and I'm back on the range. Just because it's how I am.
I might be a little slack with 1911s because a little bit more, they take more attention to disassemble than a Glock. Maybe you know what I mean. You got more plungers and springs and fly. I'm like, you know what? I'll clean it next time.
Yeah, there are definitely a few more pieces and parts in there than a Glock, but I've seen. Well, we won't get into that.
No, anyway, I don't want to digress too much. Sorry.
All right, so we got the AK-47.
Yep.
AK-74.
Yep.
And then, is there anything else there? We talked about the 223 variant or the 556
and then,
variant.
the modern version got so many variants, folding stock, side wire stock, shorter version, longer version, you know what I mean? That's why we were talking before. I'm like,
But what are you going to run into in the local gun shop?
Nowadays, it's very easy. Well, now local gun shop, we normally have, the majority of the time you find Century Arm because they're spread all over the place.
Now, Century Arms a while back lost their Zastava
contract.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't want to go into that. I know somebody's Century, so I don't want.
It's just a fact.
My good friend Jay, I don't want to get in trouble with him. But yeah, they lost their contract with them.
Yeah.
I think mostly because Zastava saw the way to sell the stuff directly here and make their own money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, they got somebody else to take it up. Something was going on, and they dropped the ball, and that's that. So Century Arms is now importing or doing whose gun?
They're making their own ones. They got the Visca and the C39s. They're supposed to be all American-made guns.
Really?
And supposedly.
But where are they getting? Are they stamping the parts here?
Probably.
Whoa.
But what I understand, I don't know that much about them. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, but I've been following, and they're supposed to be making the majority of the part over here, like rear trunnion.
Yeah.
Front trunnion, all the stuff like that made over here. But, they went through a process. They had some problems. Like Palmetto. Palmetto, they're making their own AKs too.
Yeah.
But they went through some problems, because it's understandable. I think the company should release the stuff after they're sure they work.
Yeah. Well, when I got into making custom guns, you and I looked at that, and you said, "Oh no, you got to find the real equipment." And I did. My buddy of mine is from Romania, so he spent some time, and he actually found a sea container full of the main parts of the factory, right? The lower stamping, the jigs for welding, the spot welding for all the pieces and parts, the upper, and I think the front. The jig for machining the front block. Okay. So I mean, most of it was there. The only thing that wasn't there was the wood furniture, for the turning, the turnstiles. That wasn't there. But that was going to cost me probably $200,000-$300,000 in bribes to get that equipment back over here, and I didn't feel safe with that one.
Well, you got
that deal was not like something that I would.
Well, that's the thing that people don't realize when the misconception, and we were going after that, but anyway, we can mention now, it doesn't matter. But the misconception about the case, it's a cheap gun. Well, it's cheap when the guy working on it, has a gun pointed ahead. You know what I mean?
Yeah, your labor is way cheap.
If you do an AK with the standard Russian standards, here, it's going to be a $2,000 gun, I think, at least. Because if, unions, average machine shop worker makes $50 an hour, so,
Yeah.
Material, steel is expensive. Aluminum is expensive, and casting is, I don't know how many people still do casting around here, but,
Oh, the casting's the cheap part. I mean, you can get that whole thing cast and machined out. You can stamp it. The problem you run into is all the jigs and actually grinding these pieces and parts because it's just kind of rudimentary. So at that point, what do? You have some stamped steel parts or some forged, or some casted steel parts. And then you got to put them on a grinder with a jig and grind them down to size and then quick hold them in there and clamp it on place and then spot weld it. And it's a very labor intensive gun to build. I mean, you needed a lot of people at a lot of stations to build that thing. Now, fortunately, Mother Russia had tons of people.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if you look at it.
With nothing but...
cheap labor.
Yeah, exactly. With nothing to do but build AKs.
Well, if you look, there is a video, actually, I think, online that shows the process. It's actually interesting because they have one person in charge of one step on the gun, which is, I think, is the best way, to me, for building a gun. That will be, of course, for a big company.
Yeah.
A majority of them are women. I think women are more accurate than men.
They're more detail-oriented.
And you can see that new machine. They got modern machine. They got forging machine. But if you look the way the machine shop, you can eat on the floor. I mean, they give an idea how good they are making their stuff.
Well, it's such a national pride item for Russia. And when the Chinese started it, they just started doing it in big warehouses that were retrofitted for that. But it's a very complicated gun to put together. Not to put together, but to build, to actually do the machining and the manufacturing of the pieces and parts. The Wasser 10 got a bad rep because of
I think they were rushing up. They were
rushing, but I saw a lot of, everyone's like, oh, they're inaccurate. The rounds are all over the place. I can never get it zeroed in at 100 yards. And then you look at the guy's gun, the barrel's bent.
Yeah, well, the front trunnion is off,
when they would crush the barrel into the trunnion, they would put too much pressure, and they didn't have a jig built to hold the barrel straight and, to offset or anything like that. So when you're putting pressure on it, the barrel would just naturally bend a little bit. And you'd be at gun shows or whatever, and you pick this thing up and you turn it sideways, and the barrel's like pointed down. You're like,
yeah. That's the problem. I think the majority of the problem, I don't know, between company and it's the fact that when we're importing them over here, the company we're importing want to pay that much money and have that much window of time, the time period to be ready. So they were somehow rushing the people that were making them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's the other way. Otherwise,
well, they also weren't being built on any of the military machinery.
Then I don't know. But
they were built in a separate factory for export. And of course, like you said, we needed the markup because at the end of the day, we're the one paying for all the guns up front.
Yeah, I
so
know.
you have to purchase the damn thing before you bring it in the country.
Or the other way will be imported, because the problem in America, majority of that people might know that, you can import it directly from the homeland, like the Arsenal does, because they got a special contract. I don't know what it is, but or import a single stack like they do from Romania and Yugoslavia, and then you machine the receiver.
Yeah.
Hopefully they clean it too, by the way.
Well, it's funny you say that, because my conversations with Zastava they were very poignant. Like, gentlemen, when you carve this thing open, those metal shavings are going to go everywhere. They have to be blasted back out. All that stuff needs to be sandblasted, cleaned up, and function tested. Really function tested. So you need machined rounds out of steel that you can actually load into, like dummy blanks, right? They have to be accurate. And then you have to go through all these different steps and all these different magazines. And I laid it out for him. Really, I'm like, look, this is the cost to do it. Because I got to bring the guns in, I got to inventory them, I got to machine them, I've got to clean them, I got to sandblast them, refit some paint on them, and then check fit on every single magazine that's on the market, so that we know that, okay, maybe we need to open this up, or maybe this. And you can only do like 4 or 5 in a run, and each one takes a long time, believe it or not, because you have to check and double check the fixture that the gun is being held in, because the gun itself is wrong, right? Gun to gun has got a huge tolerance difference.
I can tell you two examples now that we're talking about water. I don't own them anymore because like we were saying before, once you own an end one, you cannot replace the cheaper ones. You sell them to a friend after spending probably $1,000 just after
putting them back
parts,
together.
And putting aftermarket parts at work. And well, that being said, I had 2 issues. One was an underfolder one, and the mechanism, the button on the underfolder was assembled in the wrong way, or something was wrong with it, and Mark told me about it. And the other one, the first one, we had to open the magwell a little bit because
it wouldn't fit.
Wouldn't fit the magazine.
I had that problem with every single Wasser that I built, and I would use the Wasser just as a base platform.
Yeah, it's a good gun, it's what it is for what you pay for.
I take the bolt out, and I would open up and smooth out everything. So by the time I got done with the Wasser, it was like a Rifle Dynamics-ish.
Yeah.
It's like that's where you're going with it.
Absolutely.
Right. So you don't want to start with $1,000 AK and then put another $2,000 of work in it, because then you've just priced yourself out of the market.
Nowadays, I think that's people ask me all the time, was it $600? Yes, if that's all you can afford, like we said before.
It's a great starting point.
Absolutely.
It's a great starting point.
Nowadays, there is also gun that can be $1,000. $1,300, $1,300.
Yeah, about $1,200 gets you a decent AK.
It's a great starting point. Make an example. Krebs have the Core, which is a starting gun.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I think it's $1,300.
Okay.
And the cool feature, it's ready to go. It has an handguard. The sights, the way that they design their own sights, you don't need to change the stock or put a stock adapter. It's already signed in for Red Dot 2, so you don't lose your code witness and everything, which is for a $1,000 gun
that's pretty huge.
Yeah,
that's pretty huge. So co-witness, for those guys that might not be savvy with the term, is where your sights, you can see your iron sights through your optic. So that way, if your optic goes down, you either have a 1/3 co-witness where your sights are at the bottom 1/3 of your window, or you have an absolute co-witness where your red dot lines up with your iron sights. So that actually sits on top of those iron sights. So that's huge, because on most AK platforms, when you change out the handguard, because that's the only place you can put the sight other than having it too far close to your head.
Yes.
And then you got to go off the bottom of the receiver. When you go off the bottom of the receiver, you have to make sure that what do you call that clamp that's there? That there's a foot there, right? There's a whole bracket that goes on the side of the gun. That has to be squared.
Oh, yeah.
That has to be squared, because sometimes when you put that there and then you put the mount on that foot or that clamp, your sight is so far off whack, is that you don't have that much adjustment in your optic than to bring the sight back to where it should be. So you really want to stick it on a handguard, and if you're going to use a red dot, you want that red dot as far away from your eyes as anyway. It almost becomes silly. Like, we had cantilever mounts for our aim points on all of our ARs, and this was back in the 90s, late 90s, and with like a handle guard, like your carry handle, and then you would branch out as far as possible with these huge pieces of billet, and then your aim point would be out there, and you were really, really fast in acquiring targets. So
as far as AKs, that's something we were probably going to talk about it, right? We were talking about mods, right? And we can probably go ahead and I might as well speak about that, I guess, right?
Yeah,
you want to go
wherever you want to go, man.
Mods wise, everybody asks me what I should do in my AK, and I told everybody.
So if you start with a $600 AK,
correct,
you're starting with a Century or is Palmetto got? Yeah, Palmetto's got a 600.
AK, it's a decent AK.
So the first part you'd switch out is handguard.
Debatable. Yeah. Debatable, because some people, I will change personally, knowing Wazers, I will change the trigger pin retaining plate.
Yeah.
Which is very important, so the trigger pin don't walk away. Yeah. I will put a Crab custom safety, which by the way has to be designed, and you got to pick up one based on the design of your rifle, because you have different stamp, different thickness of receiver, different designs. If you have a traditional AK, if you don't want to keep it like wood furniture, which can be a nice AK, I do have one with wood furniture. I will buy going from the back. Okay, let's go this way. Going from the back, I will get a stock adapter. I put on a regular 6-position mil-spec buffer tube, and whatever you like, mission first stock, so mag pull-up. I tell you why, because the stock adapter the Krebs make or Rifle Dynamics make, they raise your cheek on the stock, because normally with the AK you gotta look for the sights a little bit. You gotta bend your neck. With the cheek raise or with the stock adapter, you go perfectly on sights. You don't need to do that anymore. Which is in the morning. If you have an AR, the first time you grab an AK, you're gonna look. Where is the sight?
The stock actually angles down into the back, and it's also lower to boot. So it's not a flat. The top of the stock is not flat. Or parallel with the top of the receiver.
So I will change that first, and then going forward, what we said, trigger, safety selector, which I like it, the Crab, because of the little notch.
Yeah, notch, so that you can hold the bolt to the
correct, range safety, number one, so they don't harass you with that. Second, you can leave a magazine, release the bolt, you're good to go in an emergency situation. What else? The trigger is a personal thing. You can polish an AK trigger, like buff it with a Dremel, and it's fine. Honestly,
most of the stock triggers coming in the AKs, as long as you take them out and you square them up and you run it up to about 1,000 grit paper with some oil. You felt that trigger that I built in those last couple of guns. They were just those things are absolutely devastating. But, I mean, the stock trigger's fine. You take it to a gunsmith and have them just clean it up.
Honestly, you can do it by yourself. Go online. There's a bunch of video,
Yeah, you can do that. I think most people don't, most people probably can't. They can do it, but they're really, really scared about the outcome. Because, let's face it. If you went a little too aggressive, you're getting an AK that...
Yeah. Normally what I'm learning using is that Fritz, the polishing compound? Flitz. Yeah. And a buffing wheel on a Dremel, and just try it, then put it back on the gun, try it, put it back on the gun. It takes time, it's a lot of... And change the trigger the trigger pin retaining plate and the safety. It takes a little bit of work, because you gotta engage somehow the springs on the hammer with an empty shell, a 12 gauge empty shell, sticking in there so they don't pinch your finger, or they call them the cobra bite. Yeah. And after that, going forward, the sights, the rear sights, you can buy. I like the Crab Custom peep sights, because they're Silco, round, which for an old man like me,
ghost ring.
correct. Or you can buy the Rifle Dynamics. They modify a regular AK sights. They do it for you. They send you one. They file them on the side and on the center. I think they work with an optometrist about it, so they figure out the eye relief and stuff like that.
Okay.
You can buy a Texas. What's the company? They make like a rail you mount on the top of your dust cover. It's a person.
Really?
Yeah, Texas. I don't remember the name right now. But anyway, it's a
That dust cover moves, man. That's like a bowl of jelly up there.
Apparently, it sticks in there, not moving. That's
Really?
what I heard. I'm pretty sure it goes where the sights goes, and then you.
All right.
Don't buy Chinese stuff on Amazon, for the love of God. For experience.
Yeah, stay off of Amazon for your AK
They break.
parts.
What we said. Rear sights, handguards. Well, handguards, you got all kind of handguards.
We've got to be careful because depending on who made your gun and what model you have, you just can't go grab a fore-end off an AK-47
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
and
That's
bolt it
another
to the neck.
thing. Yep.
That's what's beauty about, most of the AR-15s now. It's okay. You just go buy a handguard.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How
okay,
long do you want your handguard? That's it. That's the only question they ask you.
Oh, yeah, you can buy Romanian wood kits and put them back on a Romanian kit, AK. It won't fit.
It won't fit.
Because
Yeah.
you got to
Different years.
It's understandable. That's why an AK is a different kind
They're
of
very
gun.
rudimentary when it comes to who's building it, at what time they're building
Correct.
it, and how many of them are building, and what's the end game. Are they coming out of the military plants? Are they coming out of the supporting plants?
Out there rushing it, like I'm going want to digress, but if you look at Mosin Nagant, for example, bolt action rifle, built pre-war and during the war, or even Mausers, German Mauser, how crude they were during the war.
Oh yeah.
Because they were rushing it out.
Yeah.
Russian tanks were like not even painted. They were sending out the factory, no machine gun, just go to the front, 10 round, you're gonna get killed anyway.
Yeah.
So
It's horrible.
But
that's
going on the
really
handguard, it's a long. There's a lot of choices. I love the combination of Ultimax, rail gas tubes. A bunch of people, you're gonna shoot a bunch of rounds, you're gonna damage your red dot. Well, don't buy cheap red dot. First of all.
Well, yeah, and you can the 308. The 7.62 by 39 round. It doesn't really do that much damage. So I mean, if you're getting a decent red dot, not like the $100, the airsoft type, like red dot, they'll last. They'll last all day long. Now you don't have to go get a $1,000 aim point up there, but I think $300, Viper or something from Vortex is
perfect. That's a good warranty too on it. So even better. You can even stretch the limits of it.
Yeah.
But then
and optics are something that you take on and off your gun anyway. Yep. So if you stop shooting this gun and you're going to build a new one, you're going to take your optic and move it over there, just because most people don't have enough capital to sit there and just be like outfit each. And even if they do, what I've always found is when I put everything together on the rifle and I build my next rifle, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I still want that magnifier on this gun. And I'm swapping stuff constantly. So if you buy a decent optic, it'll transcend. And this was kind of like the podcast that I did on the photography equipment. You start with good glass. You'll always use the glass. Your battery, your body might change, or the platform, the receiver might change, or something like that. But if you've got good glass, and you start around that $300 mark for red dots, and you'll always have that thing around, and you'll always be putting it on another rifle. You'll always use it.
Yeah, I mean, I see the point of red dot, point and aim and shoot, you know what I mean? And I never spend too much on mine. I think I got one Vortex, the rest are Bushnell TRS 25. Depend also the context you use in it, you know what I mean? For range blinking is fine. If you're an operator, if I was deployed, I would probably spend a little bit more. But
well, yeah, I mean, when your life actually depends on it, I don't think I'm pushing the front lines with a $300 optic.
That's it. And then that's what I'm saying. Anyway, like I was saying, the Ultimate TDI lower handguard with a rail was a good combination for a while. I love it because I can put a vertical grip on an end stopper on the bottom, and the Ultimax is pretty solid once you install it. You might need to fit it, file here and there.
I can't remember who's on mine. SLR.
Oh yeah, SLR makes good stuff. I mean, again,
because those lock in really nice.
Yeah, it's like a third of a cost of a gun. We go into the point. SLR are beautiful. I like Crep Custom makes a good handguards.
The only thing I don't like about Mark's handguards.
He's gonna hate you for that.
I know. Well, I told him this before. He makes an absolutely just a gun. When you pick it up, you're like, wow. That's really that's a Russian gun. I mean, and if nobody knows what a Russian AK is, the comment's going to go right over their head. But when you held a real Russian AK from like World War era, you're like, oh my God, It's totally different than anything I've seen or touched. It's very nice. And when Mark gets done with his guns, they are top shelf. The only thing I don't like is they're heavy on that handguard.
Yeah.
And what I love about the AK is that it's light and it's gorilla-like. Like, that's why I keep the Magpul skeletonized stock with no adapter. Because I normally ride my chin on an assault weapon anyway, just because I'm just kind of used to having that higher optic, that red dot, or I'm running nods or something like that. So I'm just kind of adapted to that. So that one doesn't really bother me with the height of the thing. So I'm going for light. And that SLR handguard is featherweight.
Does it co-witness with everything when you install it?
I don't believe it co-witness. You can get a small mount, right? On the Trijicon MRO. And that'll sit there, and I think you get a 1/3 co-witness.
Okay, because that's the only thing with the handguard. When you buy the Midwest Industries one, you gotta buy the one specific. I'm talking about a couple of years ago. It used to be specific based on what kind of red dot you use.
Yeah.
Or you got an adapter. Another Midwest Industry make another good one. The one I really like, it's a new company on the market, and I'm trying to work with them. I understand they can't send me anything because they're new, and I'm not a big channel, but it's Ocam Defense. They make rifles. They build rifles, but they make their own handguards, and I think they're beautiful.
Yeah?
They're a really nice piece of machinery.
Good.
They put a lot of effort on it.
Now, Mark put a lot of effort in his handguard.
Yeah, but it's a different
baby.
thing.
It's a different
Think about
baby.
Mark is a shorter version, so if you will. The Ocam one is more like the SLR one. That's like long handguard that goes all over the gun. So you can design let's put it this way, when they build the AK, they change completely the front of it, the design of it. If you're installing on a regular AK, you gotta cut stuff like the sling plate and stuff like that. You gotta modify.
Yeah, your sling loops gotta go, all that kind of stuff.
That's it. I like the way where we are going. They're putting something. The way the Mark does stuff is amazing because the detail they put on their guns, they retumble the entire gun.
Oh yeah, he takes it right down and strips it down and
file everything, sand everything. It's
it's what I do, but he does it on a much more detailed scale.
I mean, they don't make that many guns. People think like, oh, they make $1 million. Like, no, not really. Mark and Jim live in an apartment. Jim Fuller, hi Jim, by the way, and hi Mark, and they're really family people. Jim sold the business, by the way, recently because it's
just before SHOT Show last year.
He was about to retire. He got tired. Now he's playing with guitars most of the time.
Oh yeah,
it's like back in his teenage time. But and they both ways they got two different ways to build AKs. You can. That's what people ask. Would you like Crab Custom Rifle Dynamics better? And I don't want to, people think I'm a biased or something. I don't get paid by any of the two. Even if I'm a Mark shop every single week or two, because he likes to show me all the stuff that he does in his own guns. And I'm thanking for him. I don't have a preference, honestly, because they're two different guns. You can't compare.
They're two totally different builds. And I'm glad that they stay in their own lane. And when I say that, it's not a jerk thing, like, oh, you can't compete with me or I shouldn't compete with you. It's that you do something well, you stay in your lane, you concentrate on what you do well. And, Rifle Dynamics stays over there and they do exactly what they do and they do it very well. And that's kind of nice because you've got to have one of both. Yeah. I mean, when I say that, like everyone's going to sit there and be like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll just take $5,000 and throw it in the air and buy 2 AKs.
I think about when they says, oh, it's $2,000 an AK. Well, if you buy a good AR, no, I'm talking about like off the shelf. How much is a good AR? Probably $1,800, $2,000.
A good one, you're $1,800.
That's what I'm saying. Right? So why don't you pay $2,000 for an AK?
Well, sometimes your ARs are going to be $2,200, $2,500 anyway. I mean, everybody sells the price point ARs. They get down to that $600 mark. I think there's might be $400 now, right? So not to say that it's a bad gun because it probably is not. But when you start putting Gucci parts on stuff, and you pay for that stuff because it's got to come from somebody else's shop. And those Gucci parts are coming out of Rifle Dynamics and they're coming out of Krebs as well. So while they're making their own Gucci part for their own platform, they're also taking enough time to remanufacture the gun so that when you get it, it's every bit of worth of that $2,000, $2,500.
Yeah, and when you go to the range, like, for example, and we were taking an AK class with Mark and the guys back in 3 years ago, and the range, what's it called, on site? The site. We're shooting at 400.
Oh, yeah.
With Mark AKs. In 7.62 by 39, by the way, not even 5.45.
I was doing that with Chris's gun. Chris had one, the first AK from Mark that I shot. I've touched a couple of them, but the first one I shot was Chris's, and he had that, what's that?
Like mine. The only difference is the stock. I think it's a KV-13 Mod 2.
Yeah,
too,
it's a Mod 2, right? It's a tank, but I sat there and no problem. 300 yards, I was hitting 12-inch steel and iron sights. And now that's impressive.
For an AK, I mean.
For an AK, right? And for that round as well. Because that round at 300 yards is falling like...
It's weird. It goes down, up, and the ballistic of the 7.62. I was talking with Mark, is people don't realize how weird is the 7.62 by 39.
Yeah.
It goes down, they speed up, and it's a weird round. But yeah, I mean, it's...
I've never shot a Rifle Dynamics gun.
You will.
Yeah.
You can go.
I just missed all those, the times out in whatchamacallit and that, in Vegas. But then... when I picked up Chris's Mark II, right? Mod 2, I'm like, how much is this? And he's like, oh, it's a $2,200 AK. And I'm like, I didn't think twice about it. I looked at it because I know what I'm looking at. I know what it takes to take all that paint off and to get all of the grease back out of the trunnion. You got to bake that off, and you got to put, acetone in there while it's still hot. I mean, if anybody knows, you flash off acetone really fast. And you gotta, otherwise, when you bake on the Cerakote or any of the other finishes, and you bake that, all that grease is going to come out, and it's going to peel the finish right off. So, in order to get that done, that takes a lot of energy, a lot of work. And then he regrinds the sides of the gun, re-engraves everything in his own flash hider, and then that fore end, while it's heavy, it's a rectangle.
It doesn't move.
It does not move, and it's a rectangle, so it fits well in the hand. That's kind of like what SIG did with their what's their
I know.
why am I I'm driving it. It's not an MPX, it's an MP.
They want to shoot AK rounds?
No. There's their Virtus. Their Virtus has got an oblong handle to it too. It's a rectangle. And it fits good in the hand, everything. And when you see the bolt, you take everything apart. You look at the spring, you see the inside, and the rails are all trued up, and everything's ground flat, and he's machined this and machined that. It's an amazing piece.
Well, let me ask you this, going back to Engar. Can you remove the top cover of your Engar SLR Engar and clean the gas tube?
Yes, I need Allen key.
Okay, with Mark you don't. You just push two buttons on. You never noticed that? I never noticed that.
No,
too.
I didn't.
Mark told me the other day. We did a video about it. One of the most recent video. By the way, on Eltenda's channel, if you want to check it. If you like toys, we have toys too. By the way, and it just push two little buttons on the side, and you can lift the top cover of it, and you can remove the gas tube, which is a part of the gun that people don't realize how important it is to clean actually. Yeah. Because of where the gas and the poop goes. Right. And you just need a baby, what you call it, thing that drinks the water, baby bottle, that drink milk, a brush used for clean it. You can use that one, or a 20 gauge brush.
Oh, you mean the brush to clean a baby bottle? Yeah.
Or a 20 gauge brush too. You can clean with that a gas tube, which is an important part that people don't, especially if you're shooting corrosive ammo, which nowadays nobody does because it's harder to find.
I think it's almost impossible to find corrosive ammo now.
Can I say? I pile up mine for the bad guys. I have a Romanian, I think, corrosive stuff, and I have M67 Yugos, which I refuse to shoot once I figure out how good it is.
I've heard that. That Yugo ammo is like,
oh man, they make 8mm
premium stuff
for sniper for the M76, which is that's another variant. So an AK that shoots 8mm was a sniper rifle built in Yugoslavia.
Right. Yeah.
That gun is like, if you find one, it's the top. That's what I was hoping that Zastava imported.
I've seen some of the, and they will, because I talked with them about what platforms are coming in and everything. They'll probably do that, but I've seen some really weird Yugo AKs. They're going for $5, $6, $8 grand, and you see them sometimes especially out in Indiana, like when you go down to the Indy 500 show.
Indianapolis show, it's famous.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of them down there, and the guys from Copper Custom, they've got quite a bit of that inventory as well too. But
Mac.
Yeah, well, that's the Blythe family, the grandson. People can't wrap their head around it. They're collector's items because you can't get them anymore. Like it used to be in the 80s, you'd say this stuff and you'd be like, yeah, you could give it away for $250. No one wanted it. Like, oh, it's an AK. It's a commie piece of crap. Look at that. It's built out of tin cans. Ha, ha, ha. And no one really gave it any worth. But then again, there was nobody really shooting it. And in the 80s, there was no real big gun collecting community. There was no big 2A community.
No.
With social media and podcasts and YouTube and everything, I think movies too, yeah.
Video games.
Video games. Yeah.
Video games. People don't realize video games is a big seller for AR-15s, especially. Magpul will make $1 million.
When we're doing Call of Duty, I was going through my rehab and everything, so I was playing a lot of Call of Duty, and I just love picking up the AK and just hammering on people with it.
I don't like video games.
It's just a fun gun, And when you go out to the range and you start hammering around it, it's a fun gun to shoot.
My preferred video game is Call of Duty, but that's a different kind of game. But anyway, no, actually I had to take it back. My preferred video game, but I don't want to digress, but the preferred video game was actually Soldier of Fortune. There was a video game for PC. That was released in the late 90s,
Yeah, that was like 97.
And you can pick up all the weird possible gun. Plus, I love Soldier. That was another magazine when I was a kid. Soldier of Fortune.
That magazine was...
Yeah, all these mercenaries that went around the war. Yeah.
That magazine was dope.
Yeah. But anyway, we were... And then... I forgot to mention the muzzle brakes. Mm-hmm. Muzzle brakes. Well, a good place for finding all this stuff is Circle 10 AK, by the way. My good friend of mine, Luke, has the best selection of AK stuff. Magazine, if you look...
Luke and I keep missing each other, like, constantly.
You know the guy.
I know.
We gotta go to the shop. It's a gun shop. I know a guy. So anyway, muzzle brake...
Coming from the Italian, I know a guy.
Muzzle brake, you got, the Krebs Custom...
Krebs makes a nice one.
IMS.
Yeah.
And then you got JMac, they make good ones.
I haven't seen that one.
Meridian Defense make a good, that I like a lot. Then you got the classic Tapcos and cheap ones. They're fine, they work. But I think the muzzle brake actually is quite an important thing on a gun. I love the IMS because if you're lucky enough, you can have a suppressor. You just take off the cage, slap on it. Again.
Now, what suppressor are you talking about?
Liberty.
A Liberty can?
Liberty, yeah, they're good suppressor, and they're good people too. We can't over here, unfortunately, but
well, at the ranch you can.
Well, yes, I will. but we could talk with them about that too. But and the muzzle brake is another thing important too. Other than that,
shooting an AK suppressed is really a giggle.
Oh yeah, it's fun. You gotta clean it. You gotta clean it.
Oh yeah, it makes a mess. But like, have you shot a whatchamacallit, an original AK suppressor, the stamped?
The big ass, the one you gotta throw away after 100 rounds.
Yeah, there's
the
like a couple hundred rounds.
PBS one, whatever.
Yeah, half the time it doesn't even like hold constricity, so it's like your round will like keyhole off the thing and stuff.
I saw them somewhere.
Yeah. I got to shoot one that a guy remanufactured down at Knob Creek, and it's such a it's just a tin can, dude. It's like a pop bottle that's been squeezed and crushed and but you look at it and you're like, well, this is back in the 70s when suppressor technology was, we're just going to weld a couple cheesy baffles in there and see what it does. There is no balancing for gas pressure. There is no redoing gas ports. There's like, okay, leave the ports wide open and, stick this thing on there. And it doesn't really do much but get really hot and throw a bunch of nasty crap back into the gun.
Well, think about suppressor gun. I don't want to digress. For a while in the 80s, the best gun was still a Sterling. The Sterling suppressor one. That's still one of the best suppressor gun. Then they end up having the SD5 from HNK. But other than that, there wasn't a lot of option. Not a lot of option.
No, but that MP5 was actually designed around the suppressor.
Yeah, correct.
So the barrel length, the suppressor, everything kind of fit and may do. But remember, it was shooting subsonic 9mm.
That's what I'm saying. That's
totally
what it took.
Yeah.
Before
that's a lot different than trying to suppress a 7.62 by 39.
Well, think about Russian. They have like the Nagant revolver suppressor. If you think about it, because you see in the movie, everybody for suppress on revolvers, like you're laughing. Nah. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of gun you can really suppress nowadays.
No.
I was arranged one of my friends. We were testing another suppressor, which I don't recall the name. And one Glock he has actually on the suppressor was actually malfunctioning, which kind of blew my mind a little bit. I thought the Glock were like immortals, but
I've never found Glock to be immortal.
That one was
I've run too many for too long. I had one of the first Glocks that ever came into the country. I was very young. It was a 17L, and everyone beats on me because I gave the gun back to Glock, and I made them pay me for it.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It cost me 3 competitions.
Wow.
I could never keep the gun running. It would just keep ejecting magazines. And I thought it was me squeezing the gun, the grip wrong, and my pad, my heel in my hand, or, right below your thumb there, that chunky part. But no, it just kept mushrooming mags up until just recently. They would still mushroom mags. When you go into any of the federal facilities, they were running Glocks. There were drawers and drawers and drawers full
you told me about it. Yeah.
of just magazines that were never touched. Because when they come in and do their qualifications, like, all right, you've been issued 5 mags, give me 5 mags. So we'd give them the 5 mags, and he'd give them 5 brand new mags because they would mushroom. To the point where I would make money when I'd be at the gun shops or whatever, and guys would be like, oh, hey, Will, what's going on? I said, all right, you're carrying that Glock. That's really cool. But I bet you a $5 right now that if you pulled the magazine out of that gun, you're about 5 minutes. You shoot that gun? Oh, yeah. Is that the mag you shoot? Yeah. Okay. Pull it out. I bet you $5 the bottom of the D10's mushrooming. He's like, no way. And he pulls it out. And I'm like, see, you're 5 seconds from gross malfunction.
Wow.
And he's like, oh my God, you just melted my mind. You crushed my world. And I'm like, dude, if you're going to carry your Glock, you carry mags that are been shot a few times and make sure you know that they work, which I don't think a Glock mag ever doesn't work. But you keep those, and then you have your range mags. And I think they've fixed that now. The polymer has changed a little bit. But
they're upgrading. People don't know that, but the majority of the gun magazine in America, the American guns are actually made by Magyar, which is actually an Italian company based in Brescia, I believe.
Oh,
it
yeah?
makes 80% of the magazine. Made in Italy. They don't say Magyar, but it's made in Italy. Clearly, it's Magyar.
No shit.
They make the best magazine. Oh, I know. They make the best magazine. They're a short show. If you had the chance, stop at the booth.
Yeah, well, I've had a bunch of their magazines.
They got gorgeous
over the years.
magazine. And they sell generic magazine for 1911s.
Yeah.
Generic between slashes.
Right.
I think that I have an arms court. I don't want to digress. Sorry.
Yeah.
But they make great magazine, and I don't want to actually go back on what we were saying before. Accuracy on AK. Nowadays, accuracy.
Accuracy, yeah.
Accuracy, sorry, on AK. My bad. Actually, nowadays, it's not such a thing because there are companies that make barrels in America. There's actually really good barrels for AK.
Really? How do you get it out of the trunnion?
Faxon. Well, you can kind of. It's a little bit of work to do, but you can take it out of the barrel.
Well, you got to heat it up like crazy, don't you?
Or
And then
move
bang it out.
trunnion and say, but you can do it. Or if you're building it, just.
Well, yeah, just pull it out completely.
If you're building it, you can just grab a Faxon. Faxon now makes really good AK barrels.
That's good to know.
And then Green Mountain had good AK barrels, for example, too.
I heard that they were starting that.
And then DC Machine used to make them. Okay. Not anymore. We will probably.
Yeah.
But
it's a small market for the AK. Oh, it's growing though. Every single year.
Because I'm about to. That's probably the next thing we want to talk about.
Well, what's your next build? What are you going
to talk about?
Yeah.
I have 2 on the way. One is probably with one of my coworkers. I'm gonna use a Nodak receiver.
All right, so you're gonna build from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And a Romanian kit that I got from Circle 10 AK.
All right. They're masters of those kits, by the way.
Oh yeah, 350. I mean, you can beat that with a barrel.
Yeah, with a barrel, but they've got all the kits. Like every once in a while, you'll find some really weird stuff. Like
the best place for magazine.
Like the little 9-inch paratrooper kits and everything. You're like, what?
Magazine, guys. If you're looking for magazine, that's another thing we should probably say. Well, at the end of this, maybe. But anyway, the first one is a Romanian, like a basic Romanian, probably.
Okay.
And the other one,
are you going wood furniture or aluminum and polymer?
I might go. If I find some good furniture, there's some people that make custom furniture in America, like made in America, actually wood made in America. Yeah. They're gorgeous.
Well, you can get some really nice wood and just remanufacture it too.
Yeah, that too.
You can sandblast it real quick. You got to be careful when you sandblast wood. You can't be using a lot of high pressure because you'll degrain. You'll tear apart the
grain.
Yeah, well, the grain will stick up, and you'll take the rest of the wood away.
There's a laminate most of the time, right?
No, there's some pretty good wood out there. I mean, I've seen it in packages and stuff, and it's covered in cosmoline. So you got to get that stuff off of. You got to get that off there, and you got to get the lacquer off.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But then when you get down to the bare wood, you can restain that, and you restain that, and then you re-lacquer it. Oh man, they look really snazzy.
Yeah, that might be an option. I'm thinking about it. Maybe keep it traditional. The only thing, even on a traditional AK, I change is safety. I want to repeat myself. Buff the trigger, and trigger it in, of course.
Yeah.
It's also part of the 922 compliant thing. You have to, and then muzzle brake. I put a muzzle brake.
Should we make gold AKs?
Well, yeah, I'm down for it. There's somebody making one. I saw one.
I know.
The guy built it.
I've got a guy that does a lot of nickel plating and stuff like that. He does work for a lot of major corporations, right? And one of the last parts that he was doing, he was putting. I can't really take two. I can't really talk too much about it, but he was putting a coating on a certain type of metal.
Ooh.
There's only 2 people in the entire world that do it.
Wow.
Okay. So, and it's not a very, it's not a glamorous thing or anything like that or high tech. It's just that it takes the process, takes some doing. And this guy's like 25,000 square feet of plating and all sorts of stuff. Right. So I talked to him about it and I said, we should probably work with putting together some receivers and stuff because he can put, like gold plating on everything. Let's just do it. Let's just do rosewood. We'll get a whole bunch of wood handle and we'll make a run of 50 of these things.
It's probably a 5K thing, easy. More?
No, I don't think it'd be that. I think it'd be $3,500. Because we're not going to go bonkers with all the really high end Gucci parts, but we're going to take the gun apart, make sure it works. We'll have to remanufacture the wood, but we're going to get it all in kits anyway, and just send it out and have it all stripped. When it comes back, we'll stain it ourselves and lacquer it ourselves, and then we bolt it all back together.
That could be an idea.
Yeah, we'll do like 50 of those.
Put a gold coin, a gold dollar on the stock.
No, come on, we got to get a coin from like Mozambique or something, and solder it to the side of the gun.
A gold one.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe a silver one. That way we got the bolt. The bolt will be done in high nickel, and then the rest of it, and then the coin will be nickel. And there's got to be some coins out of Mozambique.
I would put a gold coin and call it Judas. The gun, because betrayed. You know what I mean? That's a good reference. That's a good idea.
Switching from the AR-15, you Judas. That's good. I like that. But it has to be a really nice dark black.
Wood.
Yeah, dark black wood, like an Ebenezer or something. To actually make that, so it's a black gun
and a leather
black
sling.
wood.
Nice sling.
Yeah, nice leather. What the color would you put that sling?
I don't know. Black with some
maybe a dark brown, because then the Ebenezer on the wood will start to, it almost looks, it's really dark brown, and then we'll put that gold coin on the side of it and we'll lacquer that, and I will that glue that I use in my manufacturing, that's the stuff that holds the space shuttle together.
Oh wow. So
all the pieces and parts on the space shuttle are actually glued as well as riveted or bolted.
Okay.
And that flew me, that tripped me, because when I was doing the B-17 artwork and we were flying air-to-air missions and doing all the photography out of the back of that cargo plane, before we left, I was looking at the side of the B-17 and it's all glued together. And I'm like, wow, what's all this stuff squirting out of the seams? And when we put the ship back together, we glued it back together. And then we bucked all the rivets back in and everything. So there's actually a layer of urethane, a special type of space age urethane in between this. And then I think there's a variant of it that's used in the Corvette as well. Like most of the new Corvette.
You don't even know. Instead of welding or something?
No, it's not welded. It's not bolted. It's glued.
Wow.
Now the stuff is super expensive, but we'll glue that coin to the side of it. It'll never come off. And it'll be a gold coin on the side. Oh, that'll look bad. We'll do a couple of those too.
You can do that. She'll probably sell. And the other kit is gonna be a Sharp Brothers SB47 that you lasered for me.
Yeah.
Remember? It actually turned out pretty cool. And now you can.
Who did the color fill on that?
No, we didn't do that yet. The color fill was on the KV-13 Mod 2. Remember the red one?
Yeah, the red one.
One of the guys work, Alex, the Cerakoting guy.
Yeah.
It
right, so
looks
Alex
really good.
Yeah, he did a nice job.
It took a while too. It was sweating a lot too. I give him a tip. It was nice. I give him, go buy yourself a pizza or something. And then it's a cool dude. He does really cool projects, by the way.
Yeah, that Sharp slower that you and I redid, and then we put the Venetian lion on it. But that's the military lion. You're going to get in trouble for that.
No, that's a real flag.
That's
the flag you buy in Venice is, that's a war flag.
That's the war flag. You're going to get in trouble for that.
And then we did a magazine too, remember?
Yeah.
That looks really cool. Thank you very much again, by the way.
Oh, you're very welcome. That was a lot of fun. All right, so those are your next builds. I think what I want to do is one of the first guns to come out of the new shop when we hit 1881. I've always wanted a gold AK. I've always wanted one. And you see them from time to time. They pop up here and there, but I don't want to pay anybody for it. I want to either that or maybe we send off them. I don't know if we can color case harden them. Can we send them off to Doug Turnbull? Can he color case harden some AKs?
That would be cool.
The dust cover, right? We could probably do that and then redo the wood, like a dark cherry or mahogany or maybe black. We'll do that like ebony.
Might be a seller. I don't know many, but you can probably sell a few. I mean,
because the gun just screams pimp job, right? I mean, the AK, you look at it and you're like, oh, it just screams, give me a pimp Just give me a pimp makeover.
Yeah. Well, nowadays, especially, we were talking about aftermarket parts. At the beginning, when I started in 2011, there was nothing on the market, like literally nothing.
Yeah, there was nothing out there.
Nowadays, you can spend easy on an AK, a 2K of aftermarket part.
Oh, sure. Well, just like the AR-15 and everything else.
AR-15 is a Lego gun, so you can do everything on air.
Look at how much money you can dump into a Glock.
Oh yeah, Glock is the paradox. I think I don't hate Glock. I respect them. I think it's it's $500, best gun in the world, but I'm gonna change the trigger.
I'm gonna change out the barrel. I'm gonna change out the trigger, the sights, the this, the that. It's not a Glock anymore.
Buy an HNK.
Yeah.
And the first gun I ever, actually, one of the newest guns is I have a Glock 43X, which I like a lot, except for the trigger.
Yeah.
And I bought actually from a friend of mine for the smoking price, an HNK VP9.
Yeah.
Which is a word. It's a changing. When you shoot one, it's like, man.
Well, it's designed to go in your hand, and it's a nice gun.
It's a German gun.
Yeah, of course.
Clearly.
I mean, just worked all the way through. It's a German gun. All right, so those are your two next builds.
Mm-hmm.
We went over. So the premium builders. So if someone's going to go out and they're going to say, hey, I've got $2,500 burning a hole in my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
What AK do I buy?
Perhaps a Rifle Dynamics.
Okay.
So far, and then you have. Let me write down, because I write down the name. I'm old. I'm getting old. Give me 1 second. You have also Meridian Defense. They make gorgeous AK.
I've never even heard of Meridian.
Based on SB47 you should check them out. They're like gorgeous gun.
Oh. What's the cost on that?
John Sharp and ranting about them. About 2K to a little bit more than 2K.
Okay. Is that a US made?
Yes.
Okay.
Everything that I know. And John Sharp is ranting about them. He loves them. And
well, John Sharp's he's a sharp guy. I don't mean to be, no pun intended.
It's picky. He likes his stuff.
Yeah, he's a sharp dude.
And then we have GB Armory, which is in Texas, I believe. They make really good AK. Lee Armory is okay for what he does, and it won't be my first choice, but then make nice AK too.
He's still up there at that 2000. Lee Armory?
I believe it would depend on the model. They make like basic AKs, nicer AKs. They got a little bit of everything. Right. Meridian makes the weird stuff. They make one is called look like a Romanian after World War III gun is all beat up and stuff. They make a nicer one with the SB47 receiver. And then you have two Rivers. They make some standard AK that look good. One of my friends got an RPK built by them. RPK 74 actually, which is
I almost bought an RPK.
Yeah.
Or an RPD. And I was like, it's a semi. And I'm like, I'm just going to wait till we open the ranch, and then I'm going to buy the real thing.
It's my dream. And then we got my friend, the AK guy, Brandon. He makes decent level entry AKs, like $900.
Look at this. I'm looking at Meridian Defense.
Told you. They're like the bunkers.
Oh, baby.
And the Cerakote, you know Bell about Cerakote. They make some good job of Cerakoting to the gun.
Look at this. I'm looking at the Apocalypse series.
That's the good one that I like.
Oh, $1,900. Come on, open up. Let me see it. Ah, yes. That's a Krebs.
Could be. They use Krebs stuff too.
Yeah, that's a Krebs muzzle brake. Side folding SB tactical brace sold. It's got a Tango Down handle on it. Tango Down was one of the first upgrades that I did on my Knight's Armament gun that I took to Central America. And I got to tell you, I love that grip.
Oh, they make great stuff.
Look at that. Oh, this thing is awesome. It's got a little bit of Picatinny up there.
Hey, if you hear this podcast, by the way, I'll take one if you want to send me one.
Ooh, all right. Well, we'll get a couple of these things ordered up right away. Oh, that is so cool. Done. New truck gun right there.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of companies.
Famine. Oh, I even like it. Even put the cholera, right? Cholera. Some of those other knives I've got are like sitting there. They're like the Barati and stuff like that. They're all diseases. Wow, they make really nice stuff. Oh, I've seen this. I've seen their patch, the octopus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What is that? Apocalypse. Oh, Pestilence?
Mm-hmm. You got a kind of weird name.
Oh, that's so cool.
You should talk to them, make a knife for them and match the rifle, see?
Oh, that's a good idea. We'll talk to these guys at SHOT. Okay, so that's
anyway. Sorry
that.
About
I think wraps up everything that we had talked about, or at least had written down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anything else you want to stick to it?
No, I
I mean, it was supposed to be, you know, all AK stuff. So I mean, we went off a little here and there, but
yeah, the thing I want to close up and everything is saying, please go check out my YouTube if you want to.
Selfless plug.
We do reviews of toys too, because I collect toys. I know, and people hate some people. I got actually some hate messages about
you know,
it.
guys have said that to me because you and I have talked about other stuff of where, you know, and what's going forward and that, and they're like, whoa, I looked at that and he's like doing toys, and I'm like, yeah, so what?
No, it's actually a good way. You know, if you're a liberal, let's put it this way. They clearly have few cells in the brain, but they smoke it. and you go and check my channel. You say, oh, this guy's playing with toys. It's kind of cool, you know. It's a cover.
It's a cover, so I can sneak in the guns.
But anyway, you go and check it out, and feel free to subscribe. And I don't have monetization on my channel. I'm proud of it. I don't have any sponsor yet. I might be looking for one. If you're out there, you want to help me out, because I need help with the video editing. Or if you want to help with video editing, I've had a couple of friends help me out with that, and I have to find a way to pay them, because I want to improve a little bit of quality. My latest video, I don't want to brag, but the one we did with the fowl, the one we did with crabs, and
yeah,
I think they're getting better.
They are getting better. They're getting better.
And there's good content. That's what I'm proud of.
If you were sitting here with me doing some of the other stuff, you'd get a whole lot. You know, it's just
we will work on that.
It's just exposure.
We did a few with you too.
Yeah, I just got so bonkers crazy with selling the building and moving everything and storage, and we just, well, not to get too crazy, but that 1881 project is now just, it's gotten to be I mean, it's huge. Mm-hmm. It started off at, okay, we're gonna have a few gun ranges, we're gonna have a club out. Now it's like turned into this entire. It's almost its own little town.
Yeah, we need to talk with a couple of people that I know. Maybe you know.
Well, we definitely need to get some representation on the AK side and a couple of the other cool projects, because the pro shop is just going to be off the chain.
Plus, you never know. You can be a collaboration. You know, hook me up with a deal. You can come over and shoot when you want. You know.
Well, that's whole part of the production side, is that, you know, we've got the ranges, so we can do, you know, our own TV shows and things like that, right. And other people can come in as well. And that's what we worked out with Sig. Sig was all over it. H&K was all. You know who really jumped on it though? Was Daniel Defense.
Really? I heard he's very receptive. I mean,
Marty Daniel is I said this in one of the other videos. He's a spectacular guy. He could have said like, yeah, kid, whatever, get out of here. No, got a meeting. See you later. But he didn't. He sat there for like 45 minutes talking with me and offered me a lot of insight and a lot of resources. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he jumped on it. He knows exactly what I'm building and how important it is for the Midwest, and just the amount of people we have around this area.
Well, especially like local company. You know, if you think about like, I don't know, crabs, for example, you can say we work in a collaboration. At the same time, you can come over and test your gun anytime you want. You know what I mean? They're looking for a long distance range, perfect. You know what I mean? Why not? You cap us with a deal, and we let you use the range. Yeah. Boom, boom. It's a winner for everybody. I don't think it's a no-brainer. The only thing I want to add at the end of the video, well, thank you for having me over here. Thank you for all your help through all the years.
No worries. It's been my pleasure.
As a message to everybody, please be more proud of your Second Amendment that has been under attack lately a lot. Because like I always say, without the Second, there won't be First, there won't be Fourth, there won't be any of the amendments we got nowadays, because the Brits will be still here. So go outside, go buy yourself, completely. If you're a legal gun owner, buy yourself whatever you can afford,
Yeah.
Train with it. You learn how to use the platform. Don't buy 75,000 gun. Buy maybe just one, but know how to use it for you, for your safety of your family, of course, too.
Yeah.
Teach your kids gun safety. Teach your kids.
That's probably the first thing that I would say is, you know, as you do that, gun safety is paramount. Learn how to manipulate the platform, whatever it is. Learn how to be safe, and learn how to teach your children that a firearm is not a dangerous thing. Well, you know what? Here. All right, well, I'm going to mark that down. So yes, of course, safety number one, all that other stuff. But I think let's mark that, because we'll be back together again really soon. Let's do another one on.
Yeah, we got to teach people. It's a gun. I don't want to interrupt you. It's a gun culture. We don't need like jackasses. Can I see jackasses? Well, too late now. They go around doing stupid thing with guns. We need responsible gun owner, because we are the first one that can defend our. We need NRA. We need gun owner in America. But the one defend our rights. It's we doing the right thing and voting the right people.
Yes,
that's the other thing. People are like, oh, my vote doesn't make any difference. I beg to differ.
It does.
Learn why your local people you're voting for, if they are pro Second Amendment. I make a list of mine. The first time I'm a citizen,
Well, you take this very seriously. A lot of people in America, we're born here, so we take it for granted. Mm-hmm. But you coming from a socialist country, and then coming here and then seeing and understanding what the opportunities are and some of the freedoms and things like that, and just being able to do whatever you want to chase and have all the liberties and that are awarded to you by living here in the United States. You take that very seriously, where we kind of have to remind people that those things, you will lose them. Look at California. I mean, they've lost everything.
Oh, absolutely.
And,
for what?
Look at Canada. Canada's lost things. And it's just like, what the? You're Canadians. What's wrong with that? You all live in the woods.
Cousins.
Oh, God.
Inbreed cousins. They got the French thing in them. That's why they ruined them.
I think Canadians ruin themselves without the French influence, just by themselves. But we should do a whole nother podcast on that. And
maybe a short show. We can do a podcast, a drunk podcast.
You want to do one of those? A party cast?
Fun. Yeah, with Chris and Italians. I can translate for. What would be nice? Make a show about Italian laws and stuff, or European laws. I think it's something we don't talk, and that will let Americans understand how lucky we are.
Yeah,
because you can defend your family. Right. In Europe, and I want to digress too much. Somebody break in your house, you shoot a guy, you go in jail.
You're going to jail.
And they can sue you.
Did you hear about the guy in Britain? We got to wrap this up too.
No, sorry about that. I apologize.
It's okay. It's good. It's good content though. Guy in Britain a few years back had like an airsoft gun or something, and a guy broke into his house, and he held him at gunpoint with a toy gun, and the homeowner went to jail for brandishing a firearm, even though it was a gun. So he held the guy at gunpoint until the cops got there, and they're like, "Oh my God, you've got a gun! You got a gun!" He's like, "No, it's just a toy. It's just a toy." And they go like, "Oh, you can't have that. You can't use that toy in that fashion." Well, he wasn't really in any danger. I just pointed a toy at him. I don't care. Turn around. And they clinked him and put him in jail.
Well, yeah, it's totally different. See, the problem is, and I'm gonna close it here. But if you're lucky enough to live, depend where you live too. The political situation, everything. Where I live, my wife has been stopped twice by police, pull over for the license plate or something, and they find out you have a concealed carry permit. They asked my wife, "Ma'am, are you carrying today?" And she said, "No, I am not." And the cop says, "Why you not carrying?" She's like, "Because I'm wearing pajamas." And she's like, "Keep it in your bag, because we need good." I'm quoting the cop. It says, "We need good people with guns."
Yeah.
So
that's how you lose everything. Compliance.
Yep.
At any rate.
Anyway, sorry, I don't want to get us.
No worries. Okay, so great episode. Thanks for coming on, Fabrizio.
Thank you for having me.
Check out Fabrizio's YouTube channel. It's Eltenda's channel. He's got a lot of great reviews and things like that, and some content. And again, everyone, thanks for tuning in. It's been a great episode, and we'll have another one coming up for you here pretty soon.
Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in to another installment of Home on the Range. Remember, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Till next time, stay wild and true to your heart.